Greetings, my name is Mark. I am a self-published author, designer, and marketer. Welcome to Unlimited Story, unlimited-story.com, a channel dedicated to writing, world building, marketing, and most importantly, getting things done. If that's interesting to you, consider hopping on our Discord where we share, critique, and discuss each other's work. Everything you need to know is in the description below or at our website, unlimited-story.com. In this episode, I'm going to be going through the second episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So if that's why you're here, just sit tight. All right, and here we go. Episode number 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you have not seen my review on the first episode, go ahead and click either up here or like in the description below. And we're going to get started. This is essentially going to be my review, kind of like how I do a beta review of episode number 2. So, first question. What episode did you see, or chapter? Episode number 2. I'm still really good at this, right? What were my initial thoughts? Overall, I thought it was just kind of meh. Like, a lot of things that I was assuming that were going to happen, happened. And it's starting to follow like an equation, which is essentially, here's your target, action, here's your next, your breadcrumb onto essentially your next episode. These episodes aren't very long, so you can't really do a ton of stuff. What was my favorite part? The therapist. God. And all right, so I'm just going to start by saying I think IDB is messing with me because I looked it up last week. She was only set for 1 episode, and then I looked it up this week, and now she's in 2. Same with that Torres guy. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe they change it on IMDb. Maybe I just can't tell the difference between the number 1 and the number 2. But either way, my favorite part was definitely when Sam and Bucky were with the therapist, because she kind of wrangled these two like really important like agents and was like, hey, we're gonna do this. And they didn't have to, but at the same time they kind of did. They were kind of strong-armed into doing this. Specifically in that part, I love the stare off where the two guys are just staring off. This is totally a guy thing to do when you don't really like the other person and you're trying to be macho. So it was interesting. I kind of liked it. It was comical. Actually, Sam and Bucky together is very comical. And again, I will go back to one of my favorite scenes from Civil War.
Guys, look, I'd love to keep this up, but I've only got one job here today, and I got to impress Mr. Stark, so I'm really sorry. What?
You couldn't have done that earlier?
I hate you.
And that scene right there, it really depicts the relationship between the two guys. So they get along because they have to, for the most part, but there's no glue holding them together. Like, they really aren't meant to be partners, at least at this point in the game. What was my least favorite part? There was nothing that really stood out that I disliked, to be perfectly honest. Every scene was needed. It portrayed some level of information. So I can't really say anything, just was like, ugh, I can't believe I'm watching this. Is there anything unclear or confusing? The list for this episode is unbelievably long, and I'm just gonna read it off because there's no way I'm gonna do it all in just one shot. So, why can Bucky just hop on a plane? Like, he just meets up with Sam and he's like, hey, you're going on a mission? I love missions. I realize that I'm on some type of parole and I'm a deadly assassin, but hey, I'm coming. And even though Sam was like, no, you're not coming. How is this possible? He just got onto a military, like, he's just okay to do these things? Nah, that wasn't good, okay? Especially because I thought Bucky was supposed to be some level of civilian. Like, I don't even... Is he even allowed to own a gun? Apparently he is, because the therapist is on this military base and things are allowed to happen. So, fine. Okay, so they tracked, and by that they, I mean Battlestar and the new Captain America were able to track Sam because of Red Wing, which Red Wing was destroyed. Very sad, because Red Wing is like this awesome robot that I love. Okay, but they're able to follow him. They jump on top of these semis with a helicopter. 1, where'd the helicopter go? And then 2, they can't follow these semis. They got kicked off the semis, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, can't track them anymore. They're like stealth semis. Give me a break. Okay, they're able to track things all the time in any one of these movies. And even with our current technology, nope. No. semis didn't just get away, okay? Captain America's got a gun. That's fine. Why didn't he open up with it? How come no one wants to use their guns? Instead, they just want to do some martial arts. And it happens all the time, okay? This is a common thing in movies because, I don't know, fighting has more action when they don't open with guns. So I get it, but yeah, okay, he pulls out a gun later and shoots like, what, a couple times? That's it. Nothing else happens with these guns. Just, it's not great. How do Captain America and Battlestar have different jurisdictions than Sam and Bucky? So Sam is all of a sudden some type of free agent. He's like, hey, I'm a free agent. You're part of the Air Force, dude. You don't have different rules all of a sudden. And how is it Captain America and Battlestar can just be like, oh, hey, he can skip his therapy to go on an action adventure with us? No, Captain America doesn't just get to say that. When did Steve Rogers just get to be like, yo, I'm Captain America. These are my friends. We're just gonna go do these things, and it's okay. I'll just wait. No. Also, last thing I want to say about unclear or confusing is that I'm actually really happy that they explained what happened post-snap and blip. So now I at least have a better idea of what these Flagsmashers are doing, why they're doing it. So I'm more aware of what's happening in the world. Awesome. Very, very happy. Very grateful. Now I at least understand more about what's going on in the world and the motivation of the antagonists. What are my thoughts on the main characters? Nothing's really changing with them. Sam is still Sam, Bucky's still Bucky. Nothing's really going to be changing with their backstory. Sam is not going to be working with his family, and Bucky is not going to be working on a girlfriend. And his list, I'm sure it'll come up a little bit further down the road. I mean, that's basically a vehicle for foreshadowing, so I think that's fine. What I do find really interesting is the comparison of Sam and Bucky's maturity, specifically during their kind of pseudo-therapy session. I think it's really interesting because Bucky's so much older, he's 100 plus, and Sam is, probably in his 20s or 30s, and you can kind of tell the difference in emotional maturity between them. It definitely seems like Bucky is far more reflective, like he's reflecting on his past and really wants to do a good job. And you actually see that really powerful scene where Bucky kind of discusses Captain America's decision to give Sam the shield. So that was really interesting. I really, really enjoyed it, and I thought that was probably one of the key parts of the main character's, I guess, progression, if any, really happened in this episode. What are my thoughts on the other characters? Well, the main ones, the new Captain and Battlestar, they're fine. One thing that really kind of blows me away is this new Captain America is supposed to be super amazing. Like, oh, he's so great, physically, mentally, blah, blah, blah. He's able to piece together that the reason Sam and Bucky don't like him is because he's basically taking Steve Rogers' job. I get that. Yet he isn't able to determine, like, maybe forcing a friendship, basically forcing cooperation with them is not the best way to go. Like, really, it's as clear as day, but yet he is still forcing the issue. So he's trying to play nice guy, but it's super not working, and it's pretty obvious to anyone who's watching. As far as Battlestar, he seems like a decent and capable partner for Captain America. What's interesting is that he sort of like mimics Bucky and Sam as far as being Captain America's partner. So in many ways, the Captain America Battlestar combo kind of mimics what now Bucky and Sam are. So they almost mimic each other, and it's kind of neat. I like it, but ultimately I totally see a 2-on-2 coming on, and I don't know who's gonna win. I mean, it won't be a fight to the death. It'll definitely be just like, I want XYZ objective for our goal, and so they'll duke it out a little bit. Also, we get to see a little bit more about the Flagsmashers, which is really interesting because you get to see what their objectives are, and you kind of find out that it's like a noble cause, at least to them. Yes, they are still terrorists for the actions they've done, but what they're doing they perceive as good, right? So they are good guys, at least in their own perspective. Is there anything else I would have liked to have seen from this episode? And it would have to be all from Isaiah, because Isaiah seems like this really interesting character. They built up some backstory, so I would love to see more and know more about his relationship with Bucky, because it seemed like there just wasn't much, right? They met him, and I'm pretty sure it's just more vehicle so that if Bucky is taken away, Sam can go see him without Bucky around. So now Sam is aware of this person's existence and may be able to get information from him down the road. What do you expect to happen next? Well, at the end of the episode, they're going to see Zemo, so I'm figuring they're going to go there, they're going to chat it up, find out some information, get into another fight. I'm sure Captain and Battlestar will be there. Maybe they'll screw things up. Maybe they'll get upset at each other. They won't succeed. I'm pretty sure they're going to add another agent in that is friendly with Sam/Bucky. Maybe that Sharon gal. I'm pretty sure she'll be making an appearance by then. How much did I enjoy this episode? I'd give it a 7. It's not too bad. I'm not like jumping for joy for it. It wasn't as great as the first one. I feel like it's still trying to build up. And with how short these episodes are, it's going to take a little bit more time. And as far as how eager I am for the next episode, I'm also going to give it a 7 because I already know what they're going to be doing. They're going to go see Zemo, which is going to be fine. He's in a prison. Maybe it's a Hydra prison, but no one really knows that at this point. So there's nothing really overly exciting or super interesting that I have to know. I really like the bad guys. Like, they come across as really devout. They believe in their cause. That, the guy who sacrifices himself, you can tell he was doing it because he wanted to, and you could tell his brotherhood or his buddies were bummed out. Like, this isn't just like, die, whatever. No, they actually care about each other. They care about their cause. So that just makes it a lot more interesting to me, and that they're very tight-knit. And also it was really interesting to see their relationship, not only within each other, but kind of the civilians who are helping them. So they have like this underground railroad, and I just thought it was really, really interesting. And I was happy to see it, and I loved it. And I hope they kind of expand on why it's working and why they are finding such success with civilians helping them. And that wraps it up for my thoughts for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode number 2. If you like these types of videos, please let me know and maybe I can make some more. I seem to be enjoying it, so I'm probably just going to make them all for the season. So either way, please consider subscribing or at least watching another one of my videos that YouTube recommends. Thanks. Peace.